The award for the worst article of the week goes to Reuters. So James Oliphant is the author here, and here's what he says. Wall Street banker Cohn moving Trump toward moderate policies. Wow. A Wall Street banker from Goldman Sachs is making Trump more moderate. That's really the argument you're going to make? That's the argument he makes, which is why this is the worst article of the week. So let me give you some of his points here. In a White House marked by infighting, top economic aide Gary Cohn, a Democrat and former Goldman Sachs banker, is muscling aside some of President Donald Trump's hard-right advisors to push a more moderate, business-friendly economic policies. Cohn, 56 years old, did not work on Republican Trump's campaign and only got to know him after the November election. But he has emerged as one of the administration's most powerful players in an ascent that rankles conservatives. Trump refers to his director of the National Economic Council as one of my geniuses, according to one source close to Cohn. More than half a dozen sources on Wall Street and in the White House said Cohn has gained the upper hand over Trump's chief strategist, Steve Bannon, the former head of the right-wing website Breitbart and a champion of protectionist trade opposed by moderate Republicans and many big companies. Cohn is a key administration linked to business executives, and White House sources say he will lead the charge for Trump on top domestic priorities such as tax reform, infrastructure, and deregulation. Gary's singular focus is tax reform, and he's working to try and get that done in 2017, said Orrin Snyder, a partner at law firm Gibson Dunn and a longtime friend of Cohn. Okay, so let me break down what this means here, because there's a few different angles to it, and there's a few different important points to make. Now, there's a giant rift in the Trump administration. They'll swear up and down that that's not the case, but they're just lying to you. The rift is, I'm going to give them the funnier names here to describe them, the globalist cuck wing of the Trump administration, and you have the ultra-nationalist / bigoted wing of the Trump administration. Now, when you talk about the globalist cucks, who are we referring to? Gary Cohn, Jared Kushner, anybody who's from the financial industry, anybody who's an establishment Republican and a big-time player in GOP politics, or people who are Democrats, but they're just massively connected to Wall Street and hedge funds and things of that nature. Now, on the other side, the ultranationalists, you have Steve Bannon and anybody who, Jeff Sessions, anybody who cares more about the social issues, but happens on some economic issues to not be with the Wall Street crowd. Now, who do you root for in this fight? It's actually a complex answer. So when you talk about social issues, you unquestionably want the globalist cucks to win. Now, why is that? Because when you look at Jared Kushner, when you look at Ivanka Trump, when you look at guys like Gary Cohn, they're people who, they socially don't give a shit. They probably don't give a shit if you smoke weed. So they're going to be, pro-abortion, pro-gay marriage, against the outright bigotry against Muslims, against anti-Semitism. So on social issues, you're going to want to root for Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump and Gary Cohn and people like that. Now, here's the part of the analysis that virtually every other commentator leaves out. While you would want Kushner and his ilk to win on social issues, you unquestionably want them to lose on economic issues and foreign policy issues. When you go to Bannon, now Bannon is horrific on social issues. He's a bigot through and through. He barely even tries to hide it. I mean, what's the book, Camp of the Saints or something, that he thinks that he loves, and he thinks it's like a real depiction of what's happening now, and that book is just openly racist in a literal sense of the word, where it's like, all these inferior races are coming in and invading our countries, and in the book, there's the leader of the inferior races is like a guy who literally eats shit. And the idea is we need to kick him out of the country and like genocide them. So, terrible bigot, hates Muslims, reports that he doesn't like Jews, so on and so forth. So you don't want him to win on social issues at all. But you do want Bannon to win on economic issues and foreign policy issues. On foreign policy issues, he's like an old school paleo-conservative, like Pat Buchanan, where he says, I don't want to do fucking wars for no goddamn reason. It's a waste of our money. It's a waste of our resources. I don't agree with interventionism. I'm not like the neocons. They view the neocons as globalist cucks. You want the U.S. to control everything all around the world. Why don't we just take care of our own country? So you want Bannon to win on foreign policy. So it was actually a bad sign that he got kicked off the National Security Council, believe it or not. And you want Bannon to win on economic policy. Because on economic policy, again, he's like an old school paleo-conservative, not a neoconservative. So he says, okay, let's stop doing these stupid ass deals that outsource jobs. Let's, make the U.S. a manufacturing hub, have protectionist trade policies, bring back tariffs. So if you're a progressive, what you want is Bannon to win on foreign policy. He'd keep us out of Syria, might even wind down Afghanistan. You want Bannon to win on economics because he'd say, no way TPP, no way we do anything even close to it in a future trade deal. But you want Bannon to lose on social issues, and you want Cohn and Kushner and Ivanka to win on social issues. And what we're seeing here from Reuters is just a total misrepresentation of the facts in the sense that they're saying, well, Gary Cohn, a Wall Street banker, a Goldman Sachs guy, is making Trump more moderate. Moderate to who, dipshit? Moderate to Goldman Sachs and Wall Street. To them, moderate is what? A complete and utter sellout. That's what moderate is to Wall Street. Moderate to Goldman Sachs is they do our bidding and don't fucking question us. That's what moderate is to them. So Trump has appointed at least 4 people from Goldman Sachs to top administration positions. He's doing their bidding even though they're literally a criminal organization that had fraud as a business model. But again, the framing in the Wall Street Journal is 100% from the perspective of the establishment, of Wall Street. 100% from Goldman Sachs' perspective. Gary Cohn is a moderate influence. Because if you hadn't noticed, in this article, they're not saying, hey, Trump is listening to Gary Cohn and Jared Kushner when it comes to social issues. He's listening to them when it comes to economic issues. Trump's moderate now because he wants to deregulate everything. Oh my God. You're Reuters. You sick sons of bitches. You're Reuters. Maybe a little mention about the fact that the last time we did massive deregulation, what happened? Oh, I don't know. The Great Recession. What about the time before that? The giant recession after Reagan. What about the time before that? The Great Depression. When you get rid of the rules, the people on Wall Street are not the smartest guys in the room. They're the greediest guys in the room. And to make themselves rich, they don't care if they crash the world economy. We've seen it time and time and time and time again. You deregulate, the market takes off. Everybody goes, woo, the good times will last forever. Oh my God, there was just a giant crash and we're all going to die. Why do you think they called it the Roaring 20s before the Great Depression? Because everything's so great. This isn't a bubble. We're going to do great forever. Oh my God, we're all going to die. Happened every single goddamn time. Every time. And now they're doing the same thing. Trump is, market went up today under me. Yeah, dipshit. It's fake growth. It's a bubble. It's going to pop and it's all going to be on you because you and your fucking deregulatory policies. Obama did Dodd-Frank, which was minor, a fucking Band-Aid over a gangrenous wound. Very minor regulation with loopholes. So this is going to crash, man, and it's going to be terrible for everybody except the bankers on Wall Street, who, if Cohn is in charge, will get another bailout. Hey, by the way, they didn't even mention in the article, Gary Cohn took, I'm not kidding, hundreds of millions of dollars, leaving Goldman Sachs, an exit bonus, and now he's in the government. I wonder if he's going to bias policy in favor of Goldman Sachs. I can't fucking tell. Of course he's going to do it. That's his whole point. That's his whole existence is geared towards that. That's how human nature works. Dick Cheney got the exit bonus from Halliburton. Oh my God, lo and behold, Halliburton gets a no-bid contract for billions of dollars when we go into Iraq. He made them rich because they paid him. Gary Cohn, hundreds of millions of dollars from Goldman Sachs. He's going to bias policy in their favor and say, fuck you to the American people. That's what he's going to do. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about the fact that 50% of Americans make $30,000 a year or less. You call him a top economic advisor. What's he going to do to fix that, Mr. Top Economic Advisor? Nothing, because he doesn't care. He doesn't talk about it. Neither did this article in Reuters, because they suck. Do your fucking job. What are you calling him moderate? Moderate to who? What does that mean? Deregulation like crazy. Doing a tax deal, which, what does that mean, by the way? It means, we're going to bring back the money from overseas that all these corporations are shoving in tax havens. But what are they going to do? They're going to make a deal where they have to pay like next to nothing in taxes. Instead of saying, hey, we're going to make you bring it back and you're going to pay the tax rate that exists, they say, we're going to let them bring it back and we're just going to charge them a much lower tax rate. So you're rewarding them for doing tax evasion. Hey, guys listening, go ahead, you try to do tax evasion. See how it works out for you. Don't do it because you'll be in jail. But corporations do it. What do you mean? Then they make a deal. They get to make a deal. If you go, I'm supposed to pay 35% in taxes, but I disagree. I'm just going to hide my money somewhere. The government's not, okay, now, we're going to be nice to you and make a deal, and maybe you pay 5% in taxes? No, that's not the way it works for you. You just go to jail. They say pay or else. For corporations, shove it overseas, and then since you buy the government, the bitches in the government, the lapdogs turn around and go, what do you want? We want to pay 5%. And then they'll frame it as a win because they'll say, okay, you pay 5% and one of those percentage points goes to an infrastructure bank and we get a little bit of infrastructure improvement. Yahoo! Everybody wins. No, you pay your fucking taxes like everybody else, you sons of bitches. I mean, this is sick. They own the government and Reuters, the media. They don't even call it out. You're supposed to call it out and say, hey, here's the ruse they're playing on you. Here's the trick they're playing on you. They get to dodge their taxes. And even the terminology, they're just using a tax haven. Isn't that lovely? It sounds like the money's on a beach getting a suntan. I think I stole that from Bill Maher or somebody. But that's what it sounds like. When you do it, tax avoidance and you go to jail. So no, pay your goddamn taxes. But according to Reuters, they're just a moderate. It's just, he's a moderate guy from Goldman Sachs, a criminal organization that had fraud as a business model, and he knew about it and probably participated in it. He's a moderate guy who's just, pushing Trump in a more moderate direction of deregulate everything and let corporations rob you. Our media is a goddamn joke. And remember, news and politics on YouTube is in serious trouble, as we've discussed. We were on the blacklist for a while, where we made next to nothing for having nearly 500,000 views in a day. Made next to nothing. So they're trying to defund independent media that actually gives you facts and information, and they're trying to revert it right back to the big corporations that had it all along and have sucked all along. What do you think YouTube TV is? All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and take YouTube and turn it into TV. Yeah, but people left TV to come to places like YouTube. That's right, and we're just going to go ahead and turn around and make it TV again now. Look at the companies that are part of YouTube TV. It's a joke. It's just TV. So what do they want to do? Defund news and politics? Take those resources, give it to YouTube TV, the people who are already rich, the corporations that already get way more money than they should, way more advertiser dollars than they should. But guess what? We have a trick up their sleeve that they don't. Go ahead. If Fox Business goes under, go ahead. Try to solicit direct donations from the grassroots. See how that works out. That is adorable. They'd say, huh? Nobody's going to pay anything for that. What do? We ask you guys, the listeners, hey, you're our primary source of funding now. So $2 a month, patreon.com/seculartalk. That's all I ask of you. It's basically a cent per video because we do 40 videos a week. Plus Kyle and Corin. And you guys step up to the plate. That's what happens. So everybody who's donated, I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Because it really shows that you understand that we're doing something here that you're not going to get from mainstream media, corporate media, establishment media. They're just bad at their job. And we're filling in that blank, and now they're punishing us because we're doing a good job. So patreon.com/seculartalk. And I promise you, we will be here. We will keep fighting. And it's not just me. It's all the other independent, strong, progressive, liberal, atheist outlets. We're all going to fight, and we're going to fight because we have you guys behind us.